Good evening, Council and fellow citizens of Howard County. My name is Mark Breaux, and I live at 5531 Green Mountain Circle in Columbia. And I'm here tonight representing the Howard County Smoke-Free Coalition. And of course, our coalition strongly supports Bill 14, 2001, because this allows us to enforce a law that the police have frankly not always had the resources to do. And the fact that it's going underneath the health officer in the health department just underscores the fact that tobacco and tobacco use is, above all things, a health issue. This bill really is atypical of some other tobacco legislation that we've looked at in recent months and some things that we'll look at in the future, and that there is absolutely no radical change. As Mr. Kittleman pointed out before, there's absolutely nothing that's changing. We're just changing the enforcement of an existing law, something that's been on the books since the 1800s. I think the fact that we're even having this hearing tonight, that we're even discussing this, shows that we have so many good legislators, so many policymakers in Howard County that really do care about our kids and about their future. And less than 6 months ago, Council, I stood before you and testified on a different bill, product placement or slotting, that you were all co-sponsors of to keep the minors from having easy access to shoplifting. All 5 of you were co-sponsors of that bill. And at the time, Executive Roby strongly supported your action. Now the executive is taking action, and I ask all of you tonight to support the executive to try to close this loophole that's been going on for so long. Our kids' health and future is not the issue of just one branch of government, and certainly not one political party. And as we can see from what we've been doing, we've been working with the council, we've been working with the executive's office. It's not just about grassroots advocacy groups, it's not about me, it's not about our group, but about all of us in Howard County. And to comment on some things that Mr. Bariano said, I wouldn't even know where to start or where to begin with that. But this is a local issue. This is about our kids. The people testifying tonight, which I'm very proud to be associated with, are people that live and work in Howard County and people that care about our kids. So this is our issue. And I can just say, as president of the Smoke-Free Coalition, that we've got a great group of people, and we're honored to work with the executive on this and Dr. Matusak, and we pledge our support to Dr. Matusak in any way she sees reasonable. We're glad to give you our expertise and our experience in this. And this is about Howard County and our kids. And even beyond that, though, as you all know, we in the state of Maryland are required by the Cigarette Restitution Fund to spend a certain amount of money on enforcement. Again, to comment on what Mr. Bariano said, this is being done as a civil citation already in Montgomery County. It's been in effect since 1998. They're having great success with it. They have right now a 5% non-compliance rate since July of 1998 until February of this year. So it's working. It's going to work here in Howard County, and other communities will be looking at Howard County when they're trying to come up with their own enforcement plan. So it's a chance for us to really shine in the state, for this council to shine in the state, for our coalition, our health officer, our executive. And I see no reason for us not to just go ahead and get this done and make it work. And I thank you for all your efforts in the past, and I just hope that that you don't pay too much attention to naysayers and people who would want to criminalize kids. That's something that the tobacco industry wants to do. That is typical tobacco industry rhetoric. Blame the kids. And Mr. Murden, you were very good on that and talking about the difference in judgment between kids and merchants of tobacco. I thank you for that. And I think in Howard County, it's time that we're going to do this. I don't take for granted your vote on this, but we very much appreciate it, and we thank you for everything you've done in the past. And let's go ahead and get this done. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, glad to entertain them.
I have a couple. Just Montgomery County's law, you said it's been in place since '98.
Right.
Has anyone, such as Mr. Bariano, taken them to court on that, on the preemption issue? Do you know?
What Mr. Bariano will talk about is the sale of tobacco products. The state regulates the sale. the state has made clear that kids are not allowed to purchase tobacco. That's something we all agree on. Under 18, no tobacco. We're just talking about the enforcement of it. So I don't see any conflict with that.
Okay, and lastly...
I'm not aware of any court cases.
Okay, I'm just kind of curious to see if anyone done that or not. Lastly, you already brought the thing about we don't want to make criminals of our children, and I agree with that. I understand where you're coming from. Did the Smoke-Free Coalition or any other groups dealing with this area, were they opposed or do they support the state law that dealt with that? Because Mr. Bariano testified that there's a state law that says children can be, found. I don't know if it's criminal, actually. I'm not sure
Right.
what. Do you know if you supported then?
Well, sure. I mean, it's a balancing act. We never say that kids are not responsible for their actions. Again, it just comes down to a community effort. Who is going to be able to take control of this issue? Kids are going to go in and try to purchase tobacco. As adults, we have the opportunity to not let that happen. Frankly, it's too bad that we even have to be here. You would hope that adults across the board would not be selling tobacco to kids. It's wrong. It's against the law, but we have to do it. I just think that they should be held to a higher standard of responsibility. And no, we don't say that kids should be off the hook completely, but we have to look also at what is the most effective way to keep kids away from tobacco. And we can point fingers and go back and forth, and I think the easiest thing to do is to do nothing. But we have the option here to do something.
Okay, thank you very much.
As I read Section E that Mr. Bariano was talking about, this seems actually to clarify that vending machines are, I'll use the word exempt. I don't know if that's legally correct or not, but I think it's just a very typical rhetorical device, if you will. It says the word vending machine in the bill, so I guess that was intended to be some sort of a scare tactic, but, and I don't ever pretend to be a lawyer, but sometimes you have to accept that words mean what they say, and there are 3 lines here that don't have a lot of legalese that seem pretty clear in their intent. But if you have any further information on that for us, we would certainly be glad to hear it.
One thing I did leave out also, which I submitted into testimony, John O'Rourke, the superintendent of the schools, is very much in support of this, and he has corresponded with our coalition about that, which you will get copies of.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you very much, Council.